Hey Aquarius, how are you? I hope that everybody's doing well. The first card that we have here is, okay, nice. We have Seven of Cups and we have Ace of Swords. What this means is that something that you've been working through is going to be clarified. So when you have like different emotions that you're experiencing or different ideas or different options in front of you, so you could have sort of had stuff in front of you that you're trying to figure out, again, whether it be like, I'm trying to make this decision within my career or within a relationship, or I'm trying to understand what's going on for me emotionally, or like this could be going on with my health and I'm trying to figure that out. Whatever this is that has been sort of the thing that you've been working on trying to figure out, that you could have felt was a bit of a process, maybe not super direct. Having Ace of Swords there means that there is going to be a breakthrough. It means that there's going to be clarity. So whatever this is that you've been trying to figure out, you are going to be having a breakthrough. This is going to feel really significant. This is going to feel really important when this happens. I feel like you have invested your energy into finding this out. So this doesn't feel like something that you're like looking at, knowing that it's something that's not figured out and then not doing anything with it. It looks to me like you had been actively sort of like seeking clarity or seeking an answer, and that is what happened. So that's how I'm seeing the energy be applied initially. Interesting. You go from Five of Cups to Ten of Cups. Five of Cups is when you're in a situation and it can just be like not what you wanted it to be or not how you wanted it to be. So something could have happened that you felt disappointed about, or something could have happened that you just wish that it had been a different way. But then I'm seeing Ten of Cups. So you go from something really not feeling how you wanted it to be, but then things turning out somehow, I don't know how this shift happens, but then things end up becoming very ideal for you. It's almost like this is not how I wanted things to be, to then this is exactly perfect for me. It's like that type of transition. I don't know how you get from A to B, but that is something that I'm seeing happening too. I'm seeing Nine of Cups on the bottom of the deck. This is a card that's representative of a wish fulfillment. So initially, you can have this feeling of even feeling at a loss, but then having Ten of Cups there, that shifts drastically. It's like a whole 180 actually that happens. Interesting. So yeah, seems like something that you wanted does come to fruition after all. This can even be a situation that you almost look at and you're like, is this hopeless? And then there's a light at the end of the tunnel, essentially. That's where things are going. Not only by themselves, I'm seeing you've also put an effort into this. Even though times may have not been the easiest to be doing this within. Okay. It looks like to me, this is about the direction of things, where things are going, and like what effort to put in order to calculate things to get where you want things to be taken. But that could have been exactly what was trying to be figured out before. This looks too even like emotional choices that are being made, or choices that are being made, or conclusions that you're coming to based off of what you're feeling, especially. Meaning what's going on internally, how you're feeling those things are reflective of choices that you're making that are reflective of what you're feeling, like that type of thing. I feel like you'd been given lemons and you're making lemonade here. That's what this feels like with Five of Cups. I'm also seeing Two of Wands. So you find yourself in a situation and you have to figure out, what do I do with this? But then I'm seeing you get like really the best outcome from it. It feels too like it's challenging to get to the point where things make sense. However, I am seeing you accomplish that. Yeah. You could have been participating in something, and that is something that had to be sort of released. Any expectations that weren't aligned needed to be released so the cycle could fully close out in that way, your like attachment to it or your involvement energetically. And then what I'm seeing is, what's crossing this is you making a plan that you feel like you're doing it for you. This can be like, I'm doing this for my joy, I'm doing this for my happiness, I'm doing this so I feel good about the life that I am leading. This can even be you doing something for your like enjoyment, or you're doing something for your pleasure or for your peace of mind, or so you can feel just good about the way that things are feeling. So this isn't just like, I care about what this looks like on paper or how this looks to other people. It's more so coming from a place of, I care how it feels to me. And that being something that it looks like that's driving your plans and driving the steps that you're taking. In the face of maybe something else like not going how you wanted it to go. More intuitively involved with the choices that you're making. Okay, I'm seeing Page of Cups, I'm seeing Queen of Cups. Okay. I get this sense of you sorting through things and wanting to make sense of things. You could have been working through mixed feelings, like that type of scenario for you, getting to a point where you're really trying to connect with your intuition. What's going on here? What am I really feeling? What is my truth in this? I'm looking for that clarity so I can really understand what's going on. Like getting to a place of yourself that feels like just like the pure sense of what you're feeling beyond just like the emotions, and getting all the way down to the intuitive guidance that you'd been looking for. Yeah. It feels like I've been having feelings about something, but I didn't get to a point where I was able to organize them enough to understand them in fullness, maybe given this situation. But then what happens is that I'm seeing that you end up accomplishing that. So something that wasn't fully interpreted yet becomes fully interpreted, as far as like how you were feeling about it, what you were feeling, what was going on, and what was the sort of at the bottom of something. Because you could have felt like, if there's a whole well of everything that you're feeling, you have to go from top to bottom to get to the bottom of what is the purest thing that I'm feeling here, like the purest senses, or the most, getting all the way down to things like being reduced it's like a math problem, but feeling wise and emotionally that you're doing to get to like the square root of what you're feeling. And then I'm seeing that actually happen. So this is no longer going to be a thing that you're trying to be figuring out. This is something that is figured out then. That's how I'm seeing things end. And this looks like it has to do with your future, with the progress that you're making, with where you sort of see yourself in. It feels like not just now, but also where you're going. Like your future being involved in this and what that's looking like, what you're doing now, how that's going to impact those things. And it feels too like a challenge that you have been currently facing that's associated with what it is exactly that you're manifesting within your life. But you could have felt like you had to figure some things out before you could feel very clear and maybe very like you've chosen, like there is now a selection of what you're doing or what you're focusing on or what your intention is, and something had to be clarified first, because you could have had split feelings on something, or again just something that felt like I haven't gotten to a conclusion yet of what's going on here. I've really been trying to understand this. That ends up happening. So it feels like things have been, again, like the square root has been found feeling wise and intuitively. It helps you feel solid about the direction of things, where you feel like you're really on a single page now. There's no more feeling split about things any longer. I get to that this has felt, it could feel like emotionally and mentally taxing, both of those things that you'd been going through. So it could have been something that this has been feeling difficult for me emotionally to try to figure out, and also psychologically. So from the standpoint of both of those things. And that can also be something that was trying to be understood, where there could have been one aspect of rationale and there could have been something else that you were feeling, and you wanted your choices and your actions to feel cohesive. And I think too, what you'll find is that when you get to the square root of everything, when it is aligned with truth, like things will not conflict with one another. And I'm seeing you get to a point where things have actually been taken apart so much to get to the essence, to get to the core, and you do see that where your head is and where your heart is, those things actually align. And if you ever find yourself at a point where you're like, this feels like they're clashing with one another, it means that there's still more to do. It means that you're still not at the essence of it yet. And I feel like that's just going to be sort of like a philosophy that's understood going through this type of situation. I get the sense too that you don't want to be setting yourself up anymore to find yourself in situations that feel like, okay, now this is another thing that I'm going to feel let down by, or that I'm going to feel disappointed by. Like maybe I wasn't totally clear, maybe I wasn't recognizing everything that I was picking up, and then it led to this, and I don't want to have to keep repeating situations like this. I want to just make choices now where I'll be happy long term with these things that I'm doing, rather than having to go through these cycles repetitively where it's like disappointment and pain, disappointment and ending, or like loss and grieving, and then those things close out. Like I want to be entering into cycles that feel more peaceful or feel more aligned, or I feel more content with these, where I actually want to, it doesn't feel like another thing that I have to end. It's something that I actually want to participate for a long period of time within, and making choices based off of that. So there can also be stuff that's coming up too with making choices that like your future self will thank you for, even if it can be difficult stuff that you're going through now, or difficult choices, or like fears that you're facing, that type of thing. So you can feel like long-term satisfaction with the stuff that you're doing. Like I'm making plans that are going to be based off of long-term satisfaction here, or happiness, or feeling like even when this is hard, it's worth it because I'm in the right place, like that type of thing. So that's what I'm seeing is going on. Definitely feels like heart and mind that are combining with one another, and then your actions being reflective of those things being congruent with one another. Yeah. So that's what I'm seeing. I get the feeling of having to sort of chase your intuition around, or really trying to connect with that, and that could have been the thing. It could have felt like every time I feel like I'm getting close to understanding this, it kind of swims away from me, and I have to like go and run after it again. And you could have been playing like a tag situation with yourself. So I do get that was happening, but it feels like the chase was all worth it, because it allows you to really unite with this part of yourself that's really important. And it's also a very innate and divine wisdom that you're connecting with too. When it comes to the things that you're doing, like there's a sense of foresight now that you have, where you're not just like, is this only the logical thing? It feels like there's something more expansive and mystical even that you're connecting with when you're making choices, where there's this like you tuning into your soul and doing things based off of that, along with also like what you're thinking. It just feels like there's more of an integration here that is not only cerebral when it comes to the choices that you're making. Your soul is definitely involved, and also the wisdom that it is communicating with you, even when you can be like, I don't know if that makes sense, or should I really believe that, or you could have been questioning things. But now I get the sense of you even pinpointing something to understand it. So now it feels like all of the pieces of yourself can sort of move together. You could feel too like you haven't been looking forward to having to end something, and you can feel sad that has to happen. But this can also be, if it's not, for some of you this can be a specific thing. For others of you, this can just be the template of a cycle where something does not meet your expectations, and then it like ends badly because of that, because of what's motivating certain choices that you were making, or not being totally integrative when you're making choices, and then having to repeat that, like it's always going to lead to that if I'm not also embracing what my intuition is telling me, or if I'm not considering emotionally how I feel about this. I'm putting myself through things that I don't actually feel happy about doing. So much more integration here. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I'm seeing Mercury be the only major arcana. I want to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.